Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janice. If you're new here, if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a video that I'm actually really excited about because I'm very passionate about health and wellness. That is something that drives a lot of what I do each day as a homemaker. And I know a lot of people with the new year are trying to get into better health or lose weight or whatever those goals may be for their physical bodies. And I just want to help aid in that discussion and in that process. In this video, I wanted to give 10 easy tips for increasing your nutrients in 2023. So we all know there's this health and fitness world with all of this calorie counting and avoidance of certain foods and all these other different things. And though I agree with some of those things, I wanted to bring this video as something that's like more simple for us who are homemakers or moms, and we want to increase nutrients for our kids, for our families, and just simple ways that we can implement new tips and new techniques for increasing nutrients, being healthier in 2023. So if you're interested in just learning a few tips I have for you guys and why, then just keep on watching. Alright guys, so I'm really excited about this video and I'm going to dive right in. So with tip number 1, we have to sprout or soak your grains. Now, this is one that I see that most people do not do. We have so many people that talk about digestive issues and being gluten intolerant and all these other things that seem fairly new, especially since grains and meats are so ancient and we've had them in our diets forever. So it makes you wonder, why do we now deal with so many people who are having digestive issues and intolerances to these grains? And I think a big point to note is that we are eating seeds as seeds. Seeds are usually planted. We put them in water and soil, and they're in a dark, moist place for them to sprout and to start growing into a plant, where when we get that plant, fruit, vegetable, it's packed with nutrients, and that's because that seed holds all the nutrients inside of it. Seeds have a protective cover so that they're able to fight against predators, so that they're not being eaten. That's part of nature's natural way of protecting a seed, so that when they drop from trees or wherever else, you know, certain seeds fall from, that they have a chance of surviving to continuing the growth of plants and food around the world, right? So we have these little seeds, and we as humans, instead of soaking those seeds and letting it start to activate the nutrients within it to start sprouting so that we're able to digest it easier, we're able to absorb those nutrients easier, we're eating it as a seed, or we're just swallowing this hard, tough, coated thing and expecting to be able to receive the nutrients from it and not have any digestive issues because of that. So soaking your seeds, sprouting your seeds is a great way to soften that seed, to get past that protective barrier, and to open up the nutrients that are inside the seed, so that our bodies are able to absorb them. Soaking or sprouting your seeds increases the digestibility. It increases the antioxidants. You're able to absorb more of the nutrients and the minerals and vitamins in that seed. So ultimately, when we're soaking or sprouting our seeds, we're activating the nutrients within that seed and allowing it to be actually used in our bodies. Sprouting is actually really simple. It takes about 7 days, and then you'll start to see that that seed is sprouting. Now this is for you to do a full-on sprouting of your seed. There is an in-between, which is soaking your seeds. Even if you just soak your seeds for a few hours in a day, if you're gonna have it for dinner, or if you soak it for 24 hours, you're gonna use it the next day. Even just soaking it for a few hours actually helps release some of those nutrients and soften that seed, so it's a bit easier to digest. Obviously, sprouting is ultimately the best and what you would want to do, but soaking is a nice little medium if you don't feel like you're wanting to go 7 days sprouting a seed, or if you just feel like you don't have the time for it. Also, along with that, there are some brands that sells sprouted grains. So one of my favorites is 1 Degree. They have sprouted lentils, they have sprouted oats, they also have sprouted whole wheat flour, which I love to use. So if you guys don't want to sprout yourself, you can also look at certain grains and brands that have them sprouted already. And it will either say sprouted or it will say germinated, and those are the same thing, just means it started that process of opening up that seed. Tip number 2 is to saute your spinach or cook your spinach. Spinach has a specific acid that acts as a barrier that keeps us from being able to absorb like the vitamin C and the iron from spinach. So that acid is broken down when it is heated at, higher temperatures. So steaming or sauteing spinach is actually really helpful for you to receive the iron and the vitamin C within the spinach. Spinach is so good for you. It's like a superfood. It has so many nutrients, and eating it raw is okay, but if you want to unlock the vitamin C and the iron within spinach and some of those other nutrients, then it is best to heat it a bit. Usually sauteing it with a little bit of olive oil is the best way, and it just makes spinach that much better. So that's just a quick little tip. If you're someone who loves spinach, I like to put them in my smoothies, so most of the time I'm not having them sauteed, so I like to incorporate sauteing spinach in my eggs or any kind of spinach dish that I just toss in a soup, or it could just be heated, it could be broken down a bit, and then you're able to get all those nutrients. I love soups in general because a lot of the water-soluble vitamins within vegetables can be lost when they are in water, which brings me that's going to lead me to another tip. But a lot of those vitamins can be lost when they're in water. But when you're dealing with soups, you're also going to be drinking, eating, absorbing that water as well. So that is why I love making soups, even though you're cooking your vegetables down to just nothingness because they're so soft. All those nutrients are still within the soup and the broth of that soup, and you're still absorbing all the nutrients from it. So that leads me to one of my other tips, tip number 3, which is not to over soak your produce. So obviously we all like to wash our produce when we get it. I know some people soak it in vinegar or any other kind of vegetable produce wash, and although I am 100% for wash your produce, you've got to get rid of those pesticides and anything else, especially if you're not eating organic produce. But over soaking them, you are actually losing some of those vitamins and minerals in the water as they are being absorbed into the water that you are then going to dump down the sink. Don't over soak your vegetables. When you're getting ready to clean your vegetables, rule of thumb I think is just soaking them for a few minutes, give them a good rinse, dry, and then put them away. Do not leave them soaking in there forever. You're just ruining that beautiful, healthy fruit. Tip number 4 is to stop peeling your produce. The peels on your fruits and vegetables have so many beneficial nutrients, and once you peel it away, you're taking like up to 30% of the vitamins from the fruit or vegetable that you're eating. Keeping the skin on is vital. It is part of the package. It is full of all the good things for you, and when you peel that, you're just eliminating a lot of what you could be absorbing in something that you're already eating. The skins of fruits and vegetables also usually have higher amounts of fiber, and we all know how vital fiber is for digestion, and so it's just best to keep the peel on your apples, your carrots, anything that you feel the need, potatoes, anything that you feel the need to peel the skin off of. Just don't. Find recipes that you love with the peel still on it so that you can be getting all the nutrients you can from that produce. Tip number 5 is not to pre-cut your fruits or vegetables. I know a lot of us, especially as homemakers, we like to try to be ahead of the game, so we try to cut things ahead of time, have things stored in the fridge so that we just pull it out when we're ready for it. The amount of vitamins lost is dependent upon how long you store it, the temperature in which you're storing it, and there's 3 elements that affect the nutrient quality of a fruit or vegetable. Heat, oxygen, and light are the 3 elements that do affect the nutrient quality of your produce. So once you cut your produce and then it's exposed to the air, you put it in the refrigerator, exposed to light, and once you open it, you're cutting open your fruit or vegetable, and then the inside of that product is being exposed to these 3 elements, and that is where you start to lose nutrients. So for me, what I always love to do is just to make sure that I know what I'm making for dinner, I know I'm making for whatever other meal that I have going on, and I cut it right before I'm getting ready to put it in the pan. I feel like that's the best way to keep as many nutrients as you can. Not cutting it, having it sitting out, waiting. I feel like you're just losing all those nutrients for really no reason. If the whole purpose of you eating vegetables is to get those good quality nutrients in the vegetable, then it's best to just cut it right before you're gonna actually throw it on a pan, as opposed to cutting it, storing it in the fridge, and as time is going on, it's just seeping all those nutrients out of that vegetable. That leads me to tip number 6, which is to shop at the farmer's market. I know everyone doesn't have access to the farmer's market, but I definitely highly recommend trying and looking around to make sure that you don't have one near, or if you can just find any farmers that you can speak to, because getting fresh produce is so amazing. The quality is different, the taste is different, and the nutrient quality is different. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, which is the longer that your fruit or vegetable is sitting, being exposed to all these elements after it's been picked from its plant, you are beginning to lose the nutrients in it. So the longer the process is before that product or produce gets to you, you may be getting nonsense. Sorry, that was rude. When you think about the transferring of fruits and vegetables, if things are being shipped from different countries, different states, and all these days before it hits the store, then it sits on the store shelves until you come by and grab it. And then you come by and grab it, and you're not making that until the end of the week. And so it sits in your refrigerator for another 5 days. When you put all these things into consideration, you are getting a very low quality, nutrient dense produce. Going to the farmer's market, going to people who are local to you, that you're able to get fruit as fresh as you possibly can, and then you're able to get more of the benefits of that product or that produce. And then on top of that, might I add, it also is more worth it because I cannot count how much stuff I waste, because when I get it a day later, it's already going bad in my fridge. And that's because I don't know how long it's already been making its way to me before I'm ready to eat it. And it's just very much wasteful. You waste the produce, you waste your money. So it's just best to try to shop as locally as you can. Like I said, I know it's not something everyone has access to, but definitely try before you assume that you don't, because it makes a world of difference. Tip number 6 is to start a sourdough starter. So I know not everyone's into making sourdough, and I'm not necessarily giving this tip because I think you need to make your own sourdough, even though I think you need to make your own sourdough. But this tip is more for the aspect of utilizing a natural yeast. Sourdough starter is a great natural yeast that you can use for baked goods at home. Sourdough starter is obviously fermented, and fermentation has so many health benefits for you, and I love making sourdough pancakes, sourdough chocolate chip cookies, sourdough bread, sourdough waffles, sourdough biscuits, you name it, sourdough bagels, you name it, you can make it with sourdough starter. I absolutely love sourdough starter. Ever since I got mine up and going, I have not turned back. I can't believe I lived life without it, and it is just, I love it. There's something so beautiful about having your own sourdough starter, feeding it, being a hands-on process for you and your family, and for the things you're baking at home, which is also healthier for you, might I add. But fermented food helps with antioxidants, it's anti-inflammatory, it has a whole bunch of good, beneficial gut bacteria that we all need for digestion, for immunity. Fermentation is just life. So if you have a sourdough starter, it's just an easy way to unlock those benefits in baked goods, but also like fermenting like red onions or cucumbers or anything like that you can ferment on your own. You're bringing so many new nutrients and better things for your body just by doing a simple, small task. And sourdough starter for me is one of those things. I'm not always necessarily putting red onions on things or pickles on things, but being able to use sourdough starter in a lot of my baked goods, it doesn't change much of the taste, but it brings more nutrients to something you were going to eat already. So the good bacteria is probiotics, which is something we're always looking for. That's why a lot of us consume yogurts and kefir. But yeah, those probiotics, a lot of people take probiotic supplements, and I am one to fully believe that it is best to get all the nutrients you can in the most natural way you can. Having sourdough starter that you created on your own, just with flour, water, and oxygen, that created those good gut bacteria naturally without you taking a pill, I'm always for. I think it's the best way to go. I think that's how God designed us to eat from this planet. He provided everything we need to be healthy humans, and we just need to tap into that and start utilizing all the things he already gave us to have a healthy lifestyle. I don't know what tip I'm on, but just know that there's going to be 10 total. My next tip is to learn about raw dairy. I know raw dairy is controversial. There's some people who fully believe it is the worst thing to ever exist, and there's some of us who wish everybody knew how important raw dairy is. Raw dairy isn't raw dairy. Raw dairy is the way that we were supposed to be consuming dairy all along. Everybody is lactose intolerant. They're not able to process and digest dairy, and it doesn't make sense because dairy, cows, another thing we've had for centuries, because dairy is something we've always had. It's been around forever. We've always utilized milk and cows and making butter and different things from dairy. And the fact that all of a sudden everyone's lactose intolerant, everyone's having a hard time digesting dairy, everyone's breaking out from dairy, it makes you wonder why, doesn't it? It made me wonder why, so I dug into it, and I learned that raw dairy is dairy in the form that we were supposed to have it all along. Pasteurized, especially ultra pasteurized dairy, is basically been heated to extreme high temperatures to kill off all the bad, bacteria, so that we're not getting sick from the dairy. But along with that bad bacteria, it is killing off all the good bacteria. That is why a lot of the dairy we deal with now, it does not have the same nutrient content. It doesn't have all the beneficial probiotics for our gut. It is not the same. They are not the same. Raw dairy is a superfood. It has all the good fats, all the enzymes, minerals we need and that we should be consuming regularly. It is a whole food, but once we pasteurize it, we actually kill off, don't quote me, there's a specific protein, I believe it's a protein, possibly, look it up, like I said, but it's killing a very vital component that helps our bodies to digest lactose. That is why most of us are lactose intolerant. It's because you're supposed to be lactose intolerant. There's something that is within the milk already naturally that helps our body to digest that when we consume the dairy. But once we ultra pasteurize it, it kills that component, and then we're left to try to digest the lactose on our own, which some of us might be able to handle, most of us can't. And that is where we have the lactose intolerant issue. So definitely look into raw dairy. I love raw milk, I love raw butter, raw cheddar cheese, all these things. It's gonna change your mind. It's gonna change the way you look at cheese and dairy and all these things that are deemed bad, and how we've gone over into oat milk and almond milk and soy milk. Don't even get me started on that. But yes, I'm not forcing anybody to go down this route. I know that it comes with some dangers that people are afraid of, but I highly recommend looking into it, learning about it, getting your own perspective, your own opinion, as opposed to listening to what we're fed through the media and through life to scare us to avoid certain things that are ultimately the best for us. So please look into raw dairy. Next tip is to buy cold pressed juices. Now this is piggybacking off of the raw dairy situation, because juices, orange juice, apple juice, all those juices are also ultra pasteurized. Now though you're not losing, a component that helps you break down lactose, you are losing nutrients. Anything that's heated to an extreme amount of heat is ultimately killing off some of the nutrients. They use heat to extract the juice from these oranges or apples, and through that process a lot of the nutrients and vitamins are being lost in it, and you're left with sugar. But for real, there are a few brands that I love to use for juices, one of them being Sourdough. I've talked about it before. They do cold pressed juices and they have amazing juices. They're so good. They have so many different vegetables. They have spirulina, ginger, just all the good stuff. There's no added sugar. It is just an amazing juice, and it's really good to add into your diet if you are someone who likes to juice, especially if you juice on your own and you have not the most high quality juicer. They're usually using heat in that process as well when you're getting your juice. I've been wanting to look into a high quality juicer. I haven't yet, so I have been using Sourdough for now until that time comes. But along with that is another brand. I cannot think of the name, but I'm gonna put it here. But they have apple juice and orange juice. They're both cold pressed, so they have a little bit of that pulp, especially the orange juice, but it's organic, it's cold pressed, and you're getting all those nutrients in that juice. So that's a tip for you. And my last tip is to cook with cast iron pans, whether that's a cast iron Dutch oven, a cast iron skillet. They are amazing. And I know, it is not the one you want to go to. I felt the same way. I was not about the cast iron. I needed a non-stick pan. For one, I wanted it to be cute, but I actually really enjoy the look of cast iron now, but that's besides the point. I wanted it to be cute. I wanted it to be non-stick. I wanted it to be easy, but along with the fact that cast iron skillets are non-toxic, it's natural. Although they do have non-toxic, non-stick pans now, there are aspects of it if you end up scratching it or chipping it that it can leach certain chemicals into your food. I have some of them. I use it. I love Our Place. That's one of my favorites. I know that Caraway has a good non-toxic pan. But cast iron is not only non-toxic and natural, but you are also able to seep iron into your food when you cook with a cast iron skillet. A lot of us, especially women, moms who have gone through motherhood, we have menstrual cycles, we tend to lack in the iron department. We're always needing to take iron supplements, which in turn makes us constipated, nauseous. We have to eat it on it with food. To take it with food, we have to take it with orange juice for the vitamin C to help us absorb the iron. And there's just all this stuff, right, with these iron supplements. I know this for a fact. I've been anemic most of my life. Hate taking iron pills. I found other ways to get iron into my diet without needing pills because they genuinely make me sick. I would take them, feel nauseous, they make me constipated, and I just feel like anything that's supposed to be helping me and bringing me the nutrients I need should not be causing these other issues over here. Nausea and constipation is not healthy, right? So I love finding natural ways to get iron. Obviously, we can do red meat, getting high quality beef to get our iron intake. Spinach, like I said, once you saute it in some oil, you need vitamin C in order to absorb plant-based iron. So that's why with spinach, when that acid that's blocking the vitamin C and the iron, for one, you're not getting the iron anyway, but if you were getting the iron, if it's blocking the vitamin C, you're still not absorbing all of that iron from the spinach. So it's best to have vitamin C along with iron so that your body's able to absorb it. But with cast iron, we don't need all that, right? So cast iron skillets are just a simple way to cook. They're still non-stick as long as you take care of them. That is something I had to learn. I had cast iron in the past, didn't know how to take care of it. Everything was sticking. I hated it. I threw it away, not realizing the potential and the beauty that was in my hands. But now that I love cast iron skillets. I have about 4 of them. I have a cast iron Dutch oven. Cast iron is the way to go. Get some of that iron into your food just by cooking your meal. Nothing extra, just cook and it's adding a little bit of iron into your food. And anything that's simple is where I'm at. Alright guys, so that is going to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I feel like I'm a little bit jittery because of this coffee, so ignore the chaos that felt like was this video. But I hope even at the end of the day that you guys were able to get the tips that I said. I hope they seem simple and something easy that you can incorporate without too much thought, without too much work. Just simple things that we kind of already do, except for, you know, a couple of them might, of course. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys were able to take some tips and incorporate them. I hope that they're not too much thought process, too much time on you, because as homemakers and moms and wives, we have so much going on. And I just want to help make life easier while also making your life healthier. And I hope that is what I accomplished in this video. If I did, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite tip was or a tip that you didn't know about. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Make sure to subscribe down below before you head out. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys on Sunday.